In 2010, when Qatar won the honor to model the FIFA World Cup, the Western society get mad about it. They told them, why you're upset? They said, Qatar is in the Middle East, which is a very hot country. Would you like Qatar to announce that the World Cup will be in winter and promise to put conditioners even in the streets, which they already have now in their streets? The Western society didn't like it and said, Qatar is a very small country. How can they modulate this big championship and welcome the huge number of fans? Would you like Qatar to spend a lot of money for the infrastructure such as playgrounds, hospitals, hotels, and transportations? They were not fine with it and said what Qatar doing for the FIFA World Cup is not friendly with the environment. Qatar responded to this point and said the playgrounds are able to be recycled. And the transportations will carry the fans are all electrical, such as buses and subways. They found a point and said Qatar doesn't respect the workers' rights, and the workers' payments are so much less. Qatar replied to this point and said they did change the law on this point, and also they opened an office for the International Labor Organizations in Doha. Here, when they didn't find a reasonable reason, they said it clearly. Qatar doesn't respect the homosexual rights. So we don't want Qatar to model this big championship. Behind the scenes of the FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2022. Before I tell you about their points and plan, the first thing you need to know is that football is not only a game, but a soft power. When Germany moderated the FIFA World Cup in 2006, one of her goals were to improve her image in front of the whole world about as related to the Nazi legacy. And when Russia moderated the FIFA World Cup in 2018, some of her goals were to let the whole world to forget about her corporate regimes and her occupations for the neighboring countries. And also what the Western society did when they did put the Ukraine slogan or flag at the top of every match to let the whole world to be sympathized with her as if it is the only country that was wrong in history.
It is not all right that neither one of them will talk about human rights in Palestine, that children in Palestine are being murdered, and that neither of these parties will talk about that. That is not all right. You don't get to pick and choose human rights. You don't get to choose that the people in Tigray, the people being murdered in Tigray, matter less than other people. You don't get to choose that the Uyghurs don't matter because we have an economic relationship with China. That is not how human rights works. And every one of us in this place, if we believe in protecting human rights, then a human right is a human right is a human right. It doesn't matter if it is a child in Palestine. It doesn't matter if it is a child in Yemen. It doesn't matter if it is a woman in Xinjiang. It doesn't matter if it is a woman in Ukraine. If we have a feminist foreign policy, if we believe in human rights, all human rights matter. And I am deeply afraid, Mr. Speaker, that what is happening in this place is that we are choosing to politicize human rights.
So football is not only a game, but a soft power. This point was looking at it very, very closely by the Western society and the homosexual people to promote their beliefs and let the whole world to accept them. And that's what really happened. So some players, they started to wear the homosexual slogan or flag in their arms in every matches. But that was not enough for them, so they needed a very big sport event to let the whole world to see them. And the FIFA World Cup was on his way. The FIFA World Cup is the biggest sport event, which is expected to see it over about 3.5 billion people from across the world. That is by the FIFA predictions. So men, women, children, elders, everyone. Now the Western society faced a very big problem, which is that the next FIFA World Cup will be in an Islamic country. And one of the rules, they don't support the homosexual people. And they don't support the gay-sex marriage as well, which drive the Western society crazy. So they started to launch media campaigns against Qatar to withdraw the championship from Qatar. So they accused Qatar by everything they could with any method possible. But Qatar stood strong in front of all these problems and issues.
منذ أن نلنا شرف استضافة كأس العالم تعرضت قطر إلى حملة غير مسبوقة لم يتعرض لها أي بلد مضيف، وقد تعاملنا مع الأمر بداية بحسن نية، بل واعتبرنا أن بعض النقد إيجابيا ومفيد يساعدنا على تطوير جوانب لدينا تحتاج إلى تطوير، ولكن ما لبث أن تبين لنا أن الحملة تتواصل وتتسع وتتضمن افتراءات وازدواجية معايير حتى بلغت من الضراوة مبلغا جعل العديد يتساءل للأسف عن الأسباب والدوافع الحقيقية من وراء هذه الحملة.
You know, the results were unfortunate for them because taking the honor of modulation of the FIFA World Cup from Qatar was impossible because the FIFA World Cup was very close. But they continued insisting about their beliefs and started to give some threats and said if Qatar won't welcome the homosexual people, we'll handle these circumstances. And also some Sweden and Denmark reports, they said if Qatar won't welcome the gay people, we'll cut the deal off and delete the hotel reservations. Also some states in France, they refused to show the matches in their channels because the FIFA World Cup is in Qatar. You know, a lot of people, they told them, why you're talking too much about this point? Even though a lot of people in the Western society, they don't like the gay-sex marriage, and not only this, but also give the homosexual people a very disgusting look. Here they said their hidden reason. Listen up to me. They said all countries in the Middle East are all Islamic countries, so they don't or maybe never support the gay-sex marriage. And not only this, but also enforce many punishment for the people who will do this, starting from giving a payment to execution. And I mean by execution is that cutting your head off. And said if we can't let those countries accept our beliefs, that would be easy to control them. Because if you want to control the culture of any society, you have to start from his ethics first. So football is not only a game, but a soft power. Now let's talk about how does Islam look to this point. You know, in Islam, gay-sex marriage is forbidden, and threaten the people will do this to be punished. And the punishment for the gay-sex marriage is the punishment of adultery and fornication. You know, the homosexual people live a very miserable life without respect and ethics. Thanks Allah, we're Muslims. You know, strictness of Qatar in front of the homosexual people and prevent them from showing their beliefs in the FIFA World Cup 2022, that was a very powerful way to let the whole world to know how bad is this in Islam, and at the same time, how peaceful is Islam to encourage the normal marriage between males and females. Would like to say that thank you Qatar for defending the Islam rights, and we're so proud of everything you did. Now you know about the gay-sex marriage and how bad is it in Islam. If you like this message, try to share it to the people you know, family, friends, everyone, so that everyone get conscious about this point. And I'd like to end this episode by be Muslim to have the right ethics.